How's it going, guys? Adventure Forward here today. I'm joined by Jeremy Asuega and Ray Valdez. You know what it is. How you guys doing today?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I wanted to have Ray on today because you did what a lot of us want to do, is just take that leap, man, and start your own business after being committed to a company and giving it your all, and then just wanting to be your own boss. Yeah. So tell me about that adventure, man.
Yeah, man. I worked for a rather large company here in town for 17 years. Lots of early days and late nights and, you know, everything that comes along with being in retail, which can be a lot, as, you know, both of you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
And just decided, you know, at a certain point, I didn't like the direction the company was going in. Didn't really care for the support that we were getting as employees from like upper levels.
Okay.
And just decided that, you know, I needed a change. And for me, this is the only industry I've ever been in. So that's what I do. It's basically the only thing I know how to do.
Yeah.
And like to think I'm pretty good at it. So, you know, jumped out on my own, gave it a shot, and so far so good, up and running, and been in business about a year.
Nice.
Doing it. I can count probably, I don't know, on one hand, how many days I've had in the last year where I've had nothing to do.
Yeah.
So that's a great feeling to know that, you know.
So I guess before you took the leap and before you started your own business, tell me about yourself, man. Where are you from and where did you grow up at?
Military kid. We moved here. My family's from Texas originally. A lot of them still live out in Texas. We moved here when I was a kid. Bounced around from a couple different school districts. Oldest of two biological brothers. I have two stepbrothers on one side of my family, and then a stepbrother and stepsister on the other side of the family. So there's a lot of us. But ended up in school district 3, late in elementary school, middle school, went to Whitefield High School, graduated from Whitefield.
Nice.
Went to Adams State for a couple years, did that for a couple years, and then moved back, got into the industry. That was in 2000. And I've been in the industry since.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess you said you had a large family.
Yeah.
Very large family.
Yeah.
Did you ever stand out as like wanting to be an entrepreneur, or is that just running your blood, your whole family kind of about it?
Nobody, not one person. No, not one person has everybody that is in my family works for somebody.
Has anybody in your family ever owned their own business then? No, not even your dad or your mom or.
So my dad has a DJ business.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's a very small, just me and him every now and then kind of a thing. He's got a full-time 50 to 60 hour a week gig that he runs, you know, for working.
Yeah.
So DJing, I've done that since, 13, 14 years old. Been doing that since I was a kid. So anything that has something to do with music, I'm involved in, I'm interested in. So DJing, you know that, obviously, Jay, I've done music for you.
Yeah.
You know, Colt, I've had you on stage too, you know, so we've collaborated before, all of us, you know, just in a different kind of part of music, I guess to say, you know.
Would you think that like that part of it is somewhat what made it easy to like start your own business? Because a lot of that stuff when you DJ, it's like, it's you. You know what I mean? Like somebody might be doing something, but it's literally you just packing up, doing your thing. You know what I mean? Make sure the money's right. Make sure that, you know, whatever they need is taken care of and stuff. Did that make it a little bit easier when you started the business?
You know, I think it helped for sure, because I had an idea of what my time is worth.
Right.
And I had an idea, obviously, based on working in retail and working for different companies, what the industry's time is worth, if that makes sense, what jobs are worth or whatever. But yeah, I feel like, I mean, my dad's has had his own DJ business since I was a kid,
right?
You know, 13, 14, 15 years old. So it's always been something that's always been there. And being able to kind of talk with him, and I'm like, yo, what do you charge? Like, introduce me to the business aspect of that, you know. But for him, it's just, what do you charge and how many hours and where do we show up?
Yeah.
Right. You know? So in that aspect, it's very simple. Yeah. You know, in comparison to what I'm doing now, but definitely kind of gave me an idea.
When you first started your business, did you ever battle with yourself on what to charge and if you should go low to beat the bigger dog?
Yeah, definitely. Because there's a fine line between being competitive and not being able to pay your bills.
Yes.
Right.
You know? And working in the industry that we've been in, you have the opportunity to make a lot of money if you're good.
Yeah.
So you become accustomed to a specific lifestyle and being able to buy what you want when you want. And, you know, toys get more expensive as you get more into things. Obviously, you like microphones and, you know, the setup we have here, right? And so like DJ equipment, even with that, like the DJ equipment I have is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy expensive, you know? And just to be able to go from that basically to like, okay, this is how much the mortgage is. This is what the car payments cost. This is what I have to make per month to live. And that's the baseline minimum, obviously.
Did you and your wife, I'm guessing she helped you with this business, right?
She pushed me into the idea for sure. I'd been throwing the idea around for probably a year and a half before I did it. And then COVID hit.
Oh.
And COVID put everything at a stop. So
yeah,
you have to work through all that. And then the money got really good right after COVID. You know, when we got back from COVID, the money got really good. That's one way that I will say that the company I worked for took care of us.
Yes.
You know, as management anyways, because I was management for almost 10 years. They were able to pay us a little bit more to deal with a little bit more.
Yeah.
I guess tell me about the planning that went in before you actually said, nah, I'm done with this 40-hour-a-week job. I'm going to be 100%.
24/7.
Yeah, 24/7.
Yeah.
And I guess tell me the battle you had within yourself on if you should take that leap or not.
Well, the hard part is that it's the hard part and it's not the hard part. The hard part of the decision is that I have a family.
Yeah.
I have a wife, I have a daughter. And as you guys know, to live in Colorado Springs is not cheap.
Yeah.
It's expensive to live here. You know, so I got to be able to make a couple of $500 car payments and a $2,000 mortgage payment plus, and all the stuff that comes with that. Right. And then to be able to provide a decent lifestyle for me and my family as well. Now my wife works, so that helps.
Right.
You know, she's a 40-hour employee. She's tenured with her company and she does really well. But to go from being the breadwinner and knowing exactly how much my check is going to be every 2 weeks plus a bonus or a commission to going, well, how much money do I have this week? Right. You know? So the hard part about the leap is, not knowing. Money's uncertain and it's uncertain every day. So that's the biggest stress for me.
Okay.
The easy part about that though is that I have a daughter and now I get to see her whenever I want to. I spend as much time with her as I want to. And for me, that's a big deal.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing, really. Like, and I think I've had that inner battle with myself as far as like, is all the time that we put in really worth all the time that we miss with the people that we really care about.
Right.
And my biggest question probably for you, like, would you still have been able to do this if, you know, wifey wasn't as supportive as she was? You know, like because of course we all have haters, you know, like, and we've talked.
I have some of those.
You know, and we've talked. You know, there's definitely, you know,
not everybody has your best interest. Yeah, that's for sure. Having my wife's full support definitely took a lot of weight off my shoulders. Right. Because if she was like, "No, this is dumb. You shouldn't do this," then I'm gonna have that in the back of my head every single day. Why did you leave this job that paid this much money?
Right.
To basically start all over again. You know, and so I'm going from having a company that spends hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on advertising to Facebook and Instagram. And now I have a TikTok because of the demographic, but those are the kinds of things that bigger companies don't do. So that's the advantage that I have, is that from a business owner, entrepreneur standpoint, I can look back at things that the other companies in town do and they do well, and then things that they don't do well. And I can exploit that avenue for my own personal gain and be big. Social media presence is big.
Yeah.
So that's one of my questions was social media. Like, do you think that's like 90% of your business?
Absolutely. And maybe not so much 90. I'd probably give it a 75. No, let's go 50-50. I mean, being in the industry 20 years, I've got a huge clientele, a very large client base. And even still, a year later, there are people that will go into where I used to work and find out I don't work there anymore, and they won't shop there. And they figure out how to get a hold of me, which is really not that hard to do if you try hard enough. But yeah, I feel like my clientele has a big part to do with it. My reputation has a big part to do with it. And now social media stuff. I mean, I get hit up on Facebook Messenger all day, every day. I have random people that I have no idea who they are following me on TikTok, liking my videos, commenting on my stuff. So that's been a big thing.
Mm-hmm. So I guess tell me your strategy to build that community and build the fan base. Do you put money into it? Have you had help doing it or?
No, and that's the hard part right now is that I'm a one-man solo operation. It's just me. I am the salesperson. I am the inventory person. I am the installer. I'm the follow-up guy. I'm HR. I'm everybody, Mm-hmm. So that's the hard part, is trying to find enough time in the day to maintain the quality of service that I'm offering and make sure that I don't forget to text Cole back.
Right.
And then 3 days later, you're like, hey man, you didn't message me back. I'm like, damn it. You're right. I didn't. And then, I mean, most people are cool with, I can be like, hey man, that's my bad. Totally. Yeah. I kind of lost track of a couple of things. I'm so sorry I didn't text you back. Let's figure out what we need to do. And then all you have to do is apologize to people, man, and mean it. Yeah. And people feel that, when you're a big company, oh, I'm sorry. But are you?
Yeah.
Are you as a person sorry, or is that company sorry? Right. So when you're smaller like me, it's me personally, I am sorry. And my business is sorry. We are sorry.
Yeah.
But if you go into a bigger place, retail place, you go into like Best Buy and they say, oh, I'm sorry. Are they though?
They take that shirt off at the end of the
exactly.
day.
Right. And I wear this logo everywhere I go.
Yeah.
My name is associated with this logo. My phone number is on the side of the van. It's me.
Right.
So, and when I pull up, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm not sending somebody to you. It's me, the guy you've been talking to for the last week,
And of course, go ahead and drop the name.
So the name of my company is 5-Star Mobile Installations. I am a mobile 12-volt car audio remote start installer.
Subwoofers. He did my remote start.
I did.
And it's so nice that you could get something installed and you could be at work or whatever.
Right. And I'll pull up wherever. I've legit done work outside of the 24-hour fitness gym.
So I guess my next question for you, Ray, do you ever plan for employees? And how do you think that will look with your business?
So ideally, I would like to bring somebody on to take care of the stuff that is the most, I guess, from a business standpoint, the most annoying for me, which is taking phone calls and ordering product and doing that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that, I've been a technician for my whole career. So now dealing with quote unquote front of house stuff. So inventory, making sure that I have the product in stock that I'm planning on installing, dealing with vendors, dealing with distributors, dealing with reps, doing all that kind of stuff. I would ideally like to put somebody else into that position so that I can concentrate more on the install side of it. Mm-hmm. But it's a double-edged sword for sure, because then that person is now the voice of my company.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that person doesn't have a bad day. And
so, I guess your next step would be to decide whether you want to be that person.
Right. Do I want to be the installer? Or do I want to be the business person? Right. So that's the hard part for sure, is do I want somebody else's voice and face associated with the business, or do I want somebody else's hands on a vehicle?
Right.
So that's the tough part.
In the long run, is that more just something that you're looking to accomplish if you find the right person, or is there like a profit margin that you're kind of like, once I get to this point?
I would like to be at a point where I can afford to hire somebody and not completely dip into my profit.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be making, killer money, but I'm killing myself to get it.
Yeah.
And then I put somebody else in for, I don't know, $18 or $19 an hour to answer phones and, be the face of the business, answer social media questions and do all that kind of stuff. And then I have to work harder to make sure that I'm making that extra $20 per hour, 40 hours a week kind of a thing, to pay for that employee.
Right.
So, I guess they say that most businesses fail in the first couple years.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
Yes. So with that being said, and your strategy going forward, what do you do to combat that? Or do you see why most people would say that? Is it because it's a dedication?
I think dedication's a big part of it.
You think?
I jumped into this feat first, and I was well aware of what I was getting myself into. I feel like a lot of small business owners think, hey, it's a great idea. Let's open a coffee shop. And they've never made coffee before. Yeah. They don't know how to file taxes. You know what I mean? They don't know how to do inventory. Yeah. And I've had the blessing of being management for long enough that I know about inventory. I know about inventory control. I know about metrics. I know about numbers. I know about, profits and losses. I know about all those things. Maybe not to the extent that I would like to,
Right.
you know, but for a first year business person, I feel like I kind of had a leg up. Specifically working for a company as large as the one that I worked for, the numbers were astronomical. And to look back now and be like, man, this shop does $100,000 a month in labor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, that's insane. That number it's unfathomable from like a smaller business standpoint. Like I couldn't even imagine what do you do with that.
Yeah.
I'd love to do $100,000 in labor in a year,
right?
You know, and be good, you know, but
is there more things than just, you know, the pandemic and wanting to do for yourself and just the way that things were going that really made you want to switch? Of course, like you said, your daughter, but was it even more like, I could do this by my own, like I kind of don't need you necessarily, or was it?
Yes and no. I mean, the company that I worked for, I won't say anything bad about them because I worked for them for a very long time. I learned a lot of things. I made a lot of money. I met a lot of really great people. I have a lot of really good relationships with a lot of people that I would not have had.
Yeah.
A lifestyle that I had for a long time that I would not have had without this company, right? But you get to a point where, I mean, I was dealing with a lot of bullshit, a lot of it. And a lot of it fell on my plate. And if I didn't handle it, it didn't get taken care of. So if I was going to deal with all the bullshit, I want all the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I told my wife that on multiple occasions. I deal with so much shit. If I have to deal with all this shit, I want all of the money, you know? And she's like, well, that makes sense.
Yep.
You know, and after, you know, you get home from a long bad day and 3 or 4 customers scream at you like you personally did something to them. You know, and they're not mad at you, but you're the face of that store based on being management, and you guys can both attest to that because you've both been in those situations, you know, and having to handle that in like a professional or not, depending on that customer and what that situation looks like, you know, having to deal with that kind of stuff. And it just got to a point where, man, I just felt like I was dealing with a lot of things that I didn't need to be dealing with, or that other people had the ability to deal with, but nobody was choosing to. Because I put myself in a situation to be that guy. You know what I mean? Oh, Ray will take care of it. And I did. But
do you have any, I guess, times now where you deal with customers? Does it feel more free, I guess, is what I'm saying, when you deal with customers because you are the face of the business and it's easier to communicate with them now?
Absolutely. And it's more personal. It's way more personal. And there's more of an organic flow to it. Like right now, you know, if somebody wants a remote start, they Google, where do I get a remote start? 3 or 4 companies' names come up on the internet. You click on it, and a couple of those companies, a little box jumps up. What can I help you with? And you start typing, and then hopefully somebody responds to that message, you know, within the hour or that day or something, you know. But there's no who answers that text message. You don't know. As a customer, you have no idea who you're talking to. If it's me, there are pictures of me on my profile, on my Facebook stuff, on my Instagram. You know exactly who you're talking to. So you can put a face to that. So it's a little more personal in that aspect. I mean, hell, there are pictures of me and my wife and my kid and, you know, friends and stuff on my Facebook, obviously. And my business page obviously is more business, but my Instagram was converted from a personal Instagram to a business Instagram. So there's still those kind of pictures and stuff on there. So there's more of a, hey, this is a real person, you know, and you can convey more that I care that I get to do your car because I do, you know, if I don't, you work at a bigger company and I don't touch a car today. So what? I still make whatever I make per hour, get to hang out with the boys for a couple hours, listen to some music and it's all good. But if I don't work on any cars tomorrow, that's money I didn't make in a whole day. And you can't have that.
And I would say people have to appreciate that side of it because we have all worked at different car audio shops. And I'm going to be honest, him loving that interaction and having that much care for that is amazing. Because
thank you.
Really, like,
I mean, you get to a point real quick where you don't care. You do.
Like,
and
I don't.
And that's bad.
I'm like,
that's
bro, you can bounce. That's cool. You know?
So, you get to a point real quick where I'm going to go shop somewhere else. And you're like, there's the door. See you later. And we've all been there. Specifically as management. You know what I mean? Oh, you charge too much. Well, this is what it costs. Well, give me a better deal. Why? You know? And so now people are like, hey, can I get a better deal? And I'm like, no. This is what it costs, but let me explain to you why this is what it costs. And then there are things that I do as a tech that are, I don't want to say better, but that are different than other technicians here in town. And I have been in the game long enough to have serviced stuff from just about everybody in the city, you know, and I've had people come in from other companies, you know, while I worked for this other company. Hey, I had my car done here and it wasn't done right. Can you rip it out and redo it? You know, and I still have that same situation. Hey, I went to this place and they did not treat me well and I want something. Ooh, look, cool. You're mobile. You can come to my house while I'm on a conference call working, you know, or doing whatever while I have my 3 kids here and don't want to leave the house, because that's a pain in the ass.
That convenience.
You know? And that's a big part of this.
Like
big part.
The fact, because I, you know what I mean? Like that you're in the market where you have to go to these places and you have to reach out and then you have to set up a time. There's a lot of places that don't give you a time.
Correct.
There's other places where you set up an appointment, but then like...
But it's not really an appointment.
You know what I mean? Like, so the convenience of somebody just coming to your house...
When I tell you I'll be there at noon, I'm there at noon.
Yeah.
When I tell you the car is going to be done in 2 hours, it's done in 2 hours.
Because I could see you.
Right. Because I'm outside, you know, in your driveway.
Yep.
And you can see what I'm doing.
And that's amazing because you have so many people. Like, I think the biggest thing just with working in the industry is just availability of people, you know, not being able to drop off cars or whatever. So that convenience that people have by using your company opposed to other companies, honestly, like I said, I personally did it. And I work at a shop. You know what I mean? And I personally was like, nah, like I have, it's way easier for Ray to just come do it for me opposed to me trying to figure out, even working there, time that I can get my own car done.
Right, and if you guys are busy at your own shop, employee cars are not priority.
Yep.
So your car is going to get, oh, sorry, Jay, we'll try tomorrow.
Yep.
You know, where I pull up and like I said, you have a guaranteed time. I can tell you exactly how long how long it should take me.
Right.
Obviously, I always overquote times a little bit, you know. So if I tell you it's going to be 2 hours and I'm done in an hour, hour and a half, then cool. You know, that's the way to do it.
How many people, when you first kind of told the world, hey, I'm going out on my own, how many people hit you and was like, hey, man, do this or this, and didn't want to pay the X amount? Did you ever have that happen?
To have people
like not want to pay as much because you're like their homie? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, but I had that at that other shop too.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have people that would come in and I grew up here, you know what I mean? Okay. So I know a lot of people, and then being in the industry as long as I've been in, you know, I'd have people come in and go, oh, I mean, can you hook it up just a little bit? And I'm like, I mean, I maybe, you know, and then there's always the, you know, well, let me talk to my manager and let me see or whatever.
The only reason I say that is because people are so quick to be like, oh man, I support everybody, all my homies if they want to do their own thing. But it takes like, for whatever reason, something massive for them to even hit a like button or share your post, right?
And I've had a lot of people, I've had a lot of clients that are like, oh man, I love what you do and this was great or whatever. And I'm like, hey, do me a favor, man, jump on my social media stuff, leave me a review, 5 stars, obviously, you know, leave me a review. You know, that's the only advertising that I'm using. That's, you know, the only thing that's going on for me, you know, and people are like, yeah, cool. And then don't.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, that's to be expected. I think it's one of those things that, you know, being in the car audio field for so long, Google reviews are huge.
Yeah.
And I currently do not have Google reviews available on Google. And real talk, the only reason that I don't is because if I take too long to text somebody back and they 1-star me, I'm going to be pissed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because the little things that people blast you on Google about are typically things that are outside of my control right now. So if I don't hear my phone go off and I'm buried under a dash and I don't text you back for 2 hours and then you want to be mad about it and be like, he took so long to reply back to me, I don't need that. Yeah.
I'm gonna say this just for all local businesses and people in business themselves, and we're all human beings, so we should be decent to each other. But the negative Google reviews for things that like are just not basic stuff. Yeah. Don't be a bitch. Like, let's be honest. Right? Like, don't be a punk, bro. Just because things didn't go how you want it to go. You know what I mean? Like,
but you're always gonna have that person, bro.
But unfortunately, you are, and I think today's world. You know,
being a business owner, you know what I mean? Like, you are very well rounded with taking care of customers and stuff. But me being a consumer and just somebody who's just like looking at other human beings, I'm like, yo, man, like shit happens. You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes, like, as long as you're straightforward and you're being real with your customers,
right?
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I think that matters way more. But I think we live in a time where there's a lot of keyboard gangster stuff going on. You know what I mean? So, but like I said, if you're going to support small businesses and different things like that, when you say you're going to drop those Google reviews,
please
do it.
They make a
and
big
don't
difference.
just do the 1-star review because you had one bad experience. If you have a great experience, you should be able to talk about that as quick as you talk about the shitty one.
That's true, man.
Right. And I've had a lot of people hit me because there's a couple of Facebook pages that are information pages, right? 411 pages, if you will. And those are all, hey, who do you recommend for this?
Yeah.
And I have a very strong following. I have, no bullshit, probably 15 people.
That's
that
amazing.
Every single time somebody says I need something for my car, my name and business name get dropped.
Yeah, that's
10
awesome.
to 15 times in that post.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've had customers that have hit me up and be like, hey, I wasn't even looking for you.
Right.
But I stumbled across this post.
Yeah.
It made me think about getting a remote start. You were recommended 15 times in this post. Yeah. You've got to be the way to go, right? You've got to be the answer. Yeah. And I'm like, well, thank you for that. There are a lot of talented technicians in this city. So thank you for picking me. But that kind of stuff, just, you know, this person says, hey, Ray's worked on all of my cars. You know, Ray is the only one we trust. Ray is this, Ray is that. It means a lot, you know? So especially when somebody jumps on there and they're like, hey, I had, you know, Car Audio Shop D do this and it was terrible. Please don't go there. And somebody else is like, oh, really? Car Audio Shop D is great. I had Car Audio Shop C destroy my car and it wasn't any good, you know? And somebody's had a bad experience somewhere. Right. There's no such thing as a perfect business. There's no such thing as a perfect technician. Yeah. People make mistakes. You know, I've been blessed to be in the industry long enough to know how to avoid simple mistakes. Yeah. So I can't tell you how long it's been since I've taken a car apart and a plastic panel cracked or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? But those kind of things happen, especially here. I'm mobile, right? So if I work on your car and it's 30 degrees outside, that's a possibility. Yeah. You know, but if I crack your panel, I'm just going to be like, hey man, I broke this panel. I already called the dealership. I know how much it costs. I'm going to pay for it. I'll replace it. I'll be back in a week to replace it. And most people are like, oh, cool. Yeah. Thank you. And not try to hide it, not try to super glue it back together. You know what I mean? Not try to cut the corners
that is
and make it happen.
The downside of these big corporations, man, because there's so much pressure on X, Y, and Z. Like, I'm going to take money out of your pocket or, you know, chances of being fired for just simple mistakes like that. So, unfortunately, a lot of these other shops and stuff like do weird shit to try to hide shit when you can just own up to like, hey, like this is what it is. But of course, when you work for a corporation or something that is big enough to where like,
well, you've got that big money backing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's a big difference between that and what I'm doing.
Yeah. To where a lot of it, if you're touching like their bottom line, that's what they give a fuck about. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely. The big corporations, I feel like they don't care about Google reviews and all that stuff. Like, that shit really doesn't matter to them because they're a big corporation. We make profits regardless.
Yeah, and in a city like this, there's honestly 2 or 3 places most that you're going to go, right? If you're going to take your car somewhere. If you're going to get car stereo stuff done in Colorado Springs, there's a couple of places that you go to. Yeah. 2 of them specifically that are bigger than everybody else. Yep. And then there's a bunch of other little mom and pop, you know, small businesses, which are great. And those are the kind of businesses that, you know, when I worked for a bigger shop, I'm like, man, not worry about them. You know what I mean? But now that I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm like, you better worry about me. Yeah. You know, like, keep in mind, somebody knows me somewhere. Yeah. You know, so it's an interesting dynamic for sure to still maintain friendships and relationships with people that I care about genuinely. Yeah. That I came up in this industry with, you know, some people I grew up with in this industry, you know, and to now be considered a competitor is kind of, it's crazy to me. But at the same time, big scale stuff, I'm a little fish in an ocean of big fish, you know? So the amount of money that I'm taking from people, if you want to put it that way, I don't feel like it's money that's good money for me, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot from other shops.
When you first started your business, did you think there was some type of saturated market or that you maybe wouldn't be able to make it because there are 2 big car audio shops in Springs?
Yeah, that was definitely a concern. And then my thought is nobody in the city offers a mobile service. Right. Nobody, right? Yeah. Why not? Is there no money in it? Yeah. Are you just scared to do it? And if major companies, you know, small business still, but big company, you know, 6 stores here in the state, 50 stores in the country, you know, however many stores here, however many stores there.
Yep.
None of these guys that make millions of dollars a year have a mobile service. Why? You know, why not? What's the downfall to it?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Now, post COVID, I feel like everything's going mobile.
I think even
convenience.
Absolutely, yeah.
The consumer wants convenience.
Well, and after being locked in your house for a year, there are still people that are scared to leave their house. There are still people that don't want to go out. You know, this disease is unfortunately still killing people, you know, and it's still dangerous out there. Yeah. And if certain people with, you know, health risks and whatever can take one less step outside and stay home, why wouldn't you?
Yo, even when I get my DoorDash, I have them leave that shit at the door, bro. And it's not because I'm awkward or nothing. It's just like, bro, like I don't need that.
The touchless delivery and all that kind of stuff.
You know, like that interaction, you know what I mean, with having kids. And after that, I feel like everybody got a little paranoid.
Absolutely.
So with what you're offering, like it's a no-brainer, bro. Like really when you think about it, like of course we would say like the 2 big ones and a bunch of different small ones. But yeah, you've tapped in a market where it's super convenient for the customer. You know, we haven't gone into pricing. I know what we did on my vehicle, you know, but I bet you're cheaper because you don't have overhead. A lot of the companies, you know what I mean, like, and the installer gets part, but then they have to make their portion and their shop fees and all these different things that go into it. So I feel like you would probably be a cheaper option as well. So like, it just makes sense. It's just a matter of
the pricing is definitely competitive.
Yeah.
And I've definitely had people go, oh wow, I called this shop and they told me that my car was going to be, I don't know, a stupid number for
$1 million.
You know, it's going to cost me $1 million to do this remote start. And I'm like, cool, well, I'll do it for $500,000.
Right.
You know? And so, and I have the opportunity, you know, as well to make the price be what it needs to be to make sense for me and for the client.
Right.
But without putting myself outside of the market price wise. You know, I know that in most cases a remote start is going to cost between $300 and $500.
Yep. Most
cars, right?
Yep.
So if I come in at $350, no hidden fees, it's on sale for this price this month. And we know the game, we know the industry, you know, holidays are coming, remote
you bought this, but we didn't have this. So you got this instead.
And now it's this much more, you know, and with
you owe me $50.
You're right. And with me, I mean, there's no everything. It's up front. You know what I mean? This is what it costs. This is why it costs what it costs. This is what I do differently than other technicians. This is why I can offer a guarantee on my work.
Right.
You know, just those kinds of things. And I have yet in a year to have anything come back that was install related.
That's good.
I've had a couple of remote start brains fail.
Yeah.
That happens. I go back out to the house, I swap it, I email for an RA, I send that one back, they send me another one. The process is pretty simple when it's just one guy. You know, when you're in a big store that does millions of dollars of sales a year, there's a little bit more of a process there, but it's been good. I mean,
going back to your motivation, your just drive.
Sure.
You said your daughter, but what else drives you, man?
Success. Yeah. I want to be somebody.
Okay.
I want to leave when I leave this earth, I want people to remember who I was. You know, I want people to be like, man, that dude ran that business for 15 years and did it really, really well.
Yeah.
You know, 15, 20 years, you know. I want to be able to leave something behind for my daughter. And I keep saying my daughter, but if you know my backstory, it took a lot for us to have her. You know, she is a miracle in itself. So she is my focus for everything.
Right.
Everything. I get up in the morning, I need to make so much money because I have a kid to take care of. You know, and not to take anything away from my wife, obviously, but that is the driving force behind everything. You know what I mean? And if I'm not successful, then I'm going to have to put my tail between my legs and ask one of you two guys for a job. You know what I mean? Right. Which, I mean, obviously wouldn't be a big deal, but I would hate to have to do that. You know, there's a lot of, I don't know, another motivating factor, I guess, is there's a lot of, I guess, stimula is the word I'm looking for, where there are places in town that will tell you they are the best, right? They have the best products. They have the best employees. They have the best prices. You'll have the best experience, right? And that's what they'll tell you.
Yeah.
And when you work there, you're brainwashed to feel like that. Like, this is the best place in town. This is the best place to be. And that's great. That's a great culture to have inside your company.
Yes. Right.
But when there's another opportunity that presents itself and there's another option for maybe a better price and maybe a better experience, you know, but it's just not known yet, right? People are still finding out. Obviously, a lot of people don't even know who I am or what I do or what the business is about yet because I'm still in my first year. But I feel like when you quit a car stereo shop and you go work for another car stereo shop, there's a lot of negative connotation behind that. And they're like, man, he'll be back. Right. And that's everywhere.
It's like fucking prison.
It is.
You'll be back.
Like,
He'll be back.
I swear to God,
you transfer to a different cell block. You'll be back. You know?
That is
I
for
feel
real.
like a big part of motivation for me is to prove everybody wrong.
Okay.
Because like you said, everybody has haters, right? I have quite a few people in my corner rooting for me, shouting me out, supporting me, which is amazing. It's an amazing feeling when I see people that I didn't think would support me, supporting me, but it's a shitty feeling when I'm like, damn, Jay didn't even shout me on that page.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm like, but so-and-so did? Like, man, that's wild. You know? So for me, proving the haters wrong is a big, big motivation for me. Like I don't know how to do anything but work, man. I'm not super talented in anything else. You know what I mean? Like I'm good with my hands. I'm good at what I do. Yeah. And that's it. So I need to be the best at that I can be.
It's a crazy thing though, man. Like people hate because they wish they could, bro. Like that's a real thing. And I'm saying
that phrase, they hate you because they hate you, is a real
like
thing.
That's real shit, man. Like I'm not gonna say I'm jealous, but I am very, very proud to call you a friend.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Just off of the fact, like I've been dealing with like just being in the industry for so long, and then I look at you and I'm like, yo, this dude did it. Like, and he did it right. You know what I mean? Like he had all his shit together and figured out how he was going to do it, when he was going to do it, set all these things up. And I remember, you know, when we worked at the same shop and you had this fucking manila envelope that had like all these fucking everything he needed to start this business.
Yeah. And I thought I was slick too. I was walking around the install shop like, I need this and this and I need this. And at the time, I was going to open a building. Yeah. Like the plan was to open a shop.
Right.
Like I was going to open a shop, and I was going to open a shop in Pueblo, based on the fact that there's only 2 people down there.
Yep.
And right now I do a lot of work in Pueblo.
Right.
Oh, really?
A lot of people sleep on Pueblo, man. Pueblo West, there's
a lot of work down there, man.
There's a lot of work. There's a lot of money, and there's a lot of people that don't want to spend the money where they've been spending it because those 2 shops know that they have the market cornered.
Yeah, and you have to pick. It's either get with this or they get with that.
Right, and you either pick this guy that's an asshole or this guy that's an even bigger asshole. Right. You know what I mean? And then I show up and I'm like, hey, how's it going?
I'm just going to do this.
You know, I'm just going to get you a great price and I'm going to do some good work and I'm going to guarantee what I do and you're going to love it. And then they go, okay, say less. Let's get it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's worked out.
And it's on their time when they need to get it done.
Yeah, because a lot of people drive up, and you guys know.
Oh yeah.
You guys have both worked on the south side of the Springs. Yeah. People drive up from Pueblo all the time.
Yeah, so and so can get me in for weeks.
Right.
You guys can get me in tomorrow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm on my way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, and now the fact that I will go down there to them, people love that.
And they'll come up and spend a lot of money, man. Like a lot of people sleep on that market, and just there's definitely a need. Yeah.
And let me tell you, when I tell you that I've worked on $100,000 boats, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Damn.
I've worked on $40,000 side by sides.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. And those people don't give a fuck, dude.
Yo, there's a big market for side by sides and boats and stuff. I've seen it more commonly in the last couple of years, because I think like I would say like maybe 5-6 years ago, there was a lot of slingshots.
Yeah.
Like everybody had a fucking slingshot.
Oh, yeah.
And we're trying to get a sub in there. I'm like, where? You know what I mean? Or, just whatever they could. But I think the new thing has definitely been side by sides. Boats have always been around, but side by sides are the shit. Yeah.
I've done 2 Can-Ams in the last 2 weeks, and they both got subs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's.
Yo, they have some dope fucking setups for those.
People want it. Yeah. People want it.
And especially when you're out there doing your thing. So it makes sense.
Well, and to do that kind of stuff, where a lot of technicians, as you guys can both vouch for, people hate working on those. I don't know what it is about boats. People hate working on boats, and boats are not that hard to work on. They pay well, and it's just cool because you're on the boat. You know what I mean? And I've had probably this summer, I think I've done 8 or 9 boats, and every single one of them was like, hey, if you're ever at the reservoir, hit me up. Let's ride. Let's get a drink. Let's hang out. Some people camp on these boats. It's a lifestyle. It's a whole thing I'm learning about still. And dude, there are people that park their boats on the reservoir year round. They're there all the time. And they're like, hey, if we see you, come have a drink. Boat people are cool people. That's a cool community.
You got to reset them.
I haven't been able to hear myself for like the last 10 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He fucked you up.
Yeah. Did you see me go like this? Like, I can't hear anything.
Hit me, please.
I can't hear nothing. And if I talk too much, let me know, because I talk a lot.
Oh, no, it's actually perfect for...
Let's get back in focus.
Chia. Yeah, I'm going to be like this probably for the rest of the time. My back is fucking me up.
Oh, you are.
I'm over here in kick it mode.
Well, there we go. We don't have to have me all the way in frame. You know what I mean? Yeah, that'll work. Cause
I still got nothing.
What's up?
Ray will still be the
I
focus.
cannot hear nothing.
You can't hear anything?
No.
All right, just act like you can hear some.
Okay.
I don't know why you would be.
Yeah,
why you
nothing
lost.
changed.
Yeah, nothing changed. I don't know. Old ass headphones.
Lost out.
IS-32, that's cool.
Couple of them.
Gotta have them.
All right. So we're talking about boats. What would the next question be here?
Yeah, we're talking about motivation and stuff.
Motivation.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've worked on? Like as far as a vehicle, boat, side by side?
Like in my career or?
Yes, both, I guess.
So I have a client of mine that has a 6-door Suburban they're super rare.
Oh, I've seen this shit.
And it is, the body was taken off of a Suburban. It was put on a fire truck, so international chassis. It's gigantic. It's all black. It's murdered out. It's basically a fire truck with a Suburban sitting on top of it. It's pretty wild. It was probably one of the coolest things I've worked on. But I've worked on Lamborghinis. I've worked on, expensive Audis. I've worked on Porsches. I've done that kind of stuff too. So it's kind of, everything from mild to wild, I guess.
Is that where I know you got your love of music and car audio. Mm-hmm. That kind of makes sense. But do you legitimately love cars? Are you a car guy?
Oh yeah, I'm totally a car guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I go to car shows and I post a lot of pictures. Recently, I've done a lot of really cool old cars, classic cars.
Okay.
So I'm real big into just the car scene in general, like 60s Impalas and, 50s Bel Airs and, cool cars, I was at the Pikes Peak Rock and Rumble a couple weekends ago, and it's like all rat rod cars that are like,
oh, nice.
People have like built cars out of nothing. And
yeah,
it's like, there's some crazy stuff that happens down there, but the car scene has just always been a thing for me.
Nice. So I guess, where do you think you're going to be at in 5 years with the business?
5 years, I would like to have an employee and a building. And then that way I could, if nothing else, if I was going to, take on a big project, then I would have a place to store that project and not have it at my house. Cause that's, when it comes to insurance and stuff like that, that's kind of scary. Cause if I have a client's $100,000 car in my garage and the house burns down, then there's
never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's just another thing with having your own business, I guess, is trying to navigate through the stuff that you don't know.
Right. And and I'm still learning, I've learned a lot this year about taxes and about dues that businesses are required to pay for every year that I had no idea about. And, you get that notice in the mail and I'm like, what is this? And I call my CPA and she's like, yeah, pay that. And I'm like,
or you get those notices because I opened up Time Lapse Media and I got a notice that was like, you got to pay this. Yeah. And I was like, is this
all the
real?
scam stuff that's out there for businesses?
Right. But I was like, oh fuck, maybe I do have to pay this.
Right. And I got one of those that was like, you have to like renew your business license or whatever. Right. Yeah. And it's $10 to renew your business license online. But this company is like, for $110, we take care of that for you.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute. So I'm going to write you a check for $110 and send it to you.
And
then you're going to take that $10 and send it to them when I could have just sent my $10 to them. But there's a lot of people out there that are out to get you. A lot of scams.
Other than that, what would you say would be the other pitfalls of being a local business owner?
So being a small business owner it's not easy for sure. Especially Colorado Springs has a lot of people that live here.
Right.
There's a lot of people that live here. And when you have companies that can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on advertising,
right,
ads on radio, or, you're scrolling Facebook, and you just talk to your wife about where to get a subwoofer. And then all of a sudden one of those companies shows up on your Facebook feed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's people that get paid to do that. And there are people that are in charge of that specifically.
Right.
Companies have social media directors. I know people that make $60,000 or just $75,000 a year playing on Facebook all day.
Right.
But if they're good at it and the video content is good, then that makes your business, if you can capture what the business is doing, then that definitely makes it easier.
Yeah, no, I get that.
We're going to check it.
Yeah. I feel like it's probably not recording. It's just falling apart over here.
Headphones don't work. TV doesn't work.
This is fucking anarchy.
There, now it's back. And now it's gone.
We got the Capital One quiz show on, though.
Biggest forehead in the NFL. Peyton Manning.
Peyton.
Oh, he got an OU shirt on.
Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we got enough time and everything, too. I don't know what happened. Oh, my fucking... I need an electrician over here. I forgot about this TV.
Bro, your install manager is an electrician.
I know, but I just don't want him over here. He's gonna be here all night.
Talking about everything.
Yeah.
Talking about Florida State and racism, Republicans.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, I get it, but goddamn, so Trump, he wasn't a bad guy.
But...
Oh, yes, he's totally turn it off and turn it back on.
Done broke it. Done did broke it.
You have the same TV?
I have 3 Vizios in my house. Yeah.
Yeah. You like Vizios?
I like the one I have in my living room.
I'm a Samsung guy, even though.
Oh no, I'm with you. Yeah, the TV that I have in my living room is a 72, and the fucking everything is blue right now. Everything, because part of the LED board went bad on it.
Damn.
Oh, well, at least.
So I have to buy another TV. Everything has a blue tint to it.
It's gone.
And it's bad because my daughter's like, Daddy, why is he blue? Shut up.
You know it's bad to selling
Cowboys
TVs?
reference. I thought
No. Like it legit, like everything has a blue tint to it.
Go see Pops. He's back at he's at cons now.
Oh, is he?
Mm-hmm. Out there slanging them.
If that goes, don't worry. It was still recording, so we really didn't lose anything.
Okay, bueno.
That was weird.
Now we're cutting deep with the deep questions.
Yeah. Actually, I want to.
Hopefully I can hear them.
Stop.
I'm like, what? Dude. What did you say?
Now he's going to fucking try to fuck
Oh,
with
now
it.
I could. And now, yep. Nope. Pull it out just a little bit.
Just a tip.
Right there.
Just a tip.
That's weird. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, just a tip.
That's why I hate aux cords, bro. And
try doing that and being a DJ.
This shit would be
Or have somebody
horrendous.
steal your thumb drive.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I remember that.
Anarchy.
Yeah.
Bro, your brother was so mad.
That motherfucker.
He
Bro,
said-
he just be tripping, though.
He said, what do you mean somebody stole the hard drive?
Yeah.
Nigga, what you think? I
It's
just
gone.
said it's
Yeah,
gone.
it's
Somebody
gone.
took it.
what?
Yeah, we did it.
Somebody
I did a show
stole
for them.
fucking Chris LaShawne's
Yeah,
fucking
and
hard.
Chris's hard drive. I left it on the
Dude.
on my. Like,
So my
setup.
man, he was tripping. I was like, bro,
alright.
just send the shit.
Well, might get into that.
Stop yelling at me.
Okay. Can you hear me though? You good?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right.
All right, we live.
So, I guess take me back to kind of your trials and tribulations. You said that it was tough to have your kid. Yeah, you don't have to go in depth with it, but did that help build you as a strong, independent person and the person that you are today?
Yeah, my daughter has a lot to do with like my drive and things of that nature today. We tried for 10 years, kind of quick backstory. We tried for 10 years. We had 2 miscarriages and then we had my daughter. And we were told by a couple different doctors that it was just never going to happen. So just give up. We had one specialist tell us, we don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? This is your specialty. And you're
Really?
like,
Right.
we just don't know. They gave us some kind of story about how some people are just chemically incompatible and it just doesn't happen for some people. And I was like, okay, well, I guess maybe that's a thing. So we just kind of forgot about it and went on living our lives and kind of made peace with the fact that it was just going to be the 2 of us, which was fine. So we went on doing our thing and then she got pregnant and miscarried. And then about a year later, she got pregnant again and miscarried again. And then a year later she got pregnant again, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, hard to get excited at that point. And then 1 month turned into 2 and turned into 6 and turned into 9 and turned into a baby.
That's awesome. Though.
So it's cool now, obviously.
Yeah.
Cause my kid she's awesome, man. She's amazing. But trials and tribulations, you know, you learn the hard way, you know, that you don't always get what you want. Right. So if you want to get, you know, a little bit deeper with it, you know, what do you want for your life, and what do you want your life to look like? Do you want to be 50 years old and work at a car stereo shop for somebody else, you know, and I'm not young, you know what I mean? I'm getting there, you know? So as I get older, perspective on things changes for sure. You know, a 5-year plan for me might look completely different than a 5-year plan for you, because I got a couple years on you, you know, and same for you, you know? And so you can even attest to that. Like, what does your music look like 5 years from now? What does your music look like 5 years from now? What does Time Lapse Media look like 5 years from now? So for me, what does 5-Star Mobile look like 5 years from now? Yeah. You know, and everybody uses that, you know, the 5-year plan thing or whatever, but that's real talk. Like, that's what do I want to do in the next 5 years?
And before you know it,
it's gone quick.
And you're like, oh shit.
And then you're like, well, shit, I didn't accomplish anything that I wanted to accomplish, you know? So I try to make things, I'm at a point in my life now where I'm done dreaming about things, and now I have goals. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I have things written down legit. Yeah. This is what I want. This is my next step. When can I make this happen? How do I make this happen? How much money does it take to make
Has that always been a thing, or when did that get triggered?
That's been more of a thing recently, but it's always kind of been a thing. As soon as I started talking about I want to open my own business, you know, I'm like, what's it going to take to do that? What is rent on a building cost? Right. You know, how do I get lined up with distributors? How do I get insurance? How do I do all of these things? And the internet's amazing, man. It's all out there. Yes. It's all out there. I have a couple of friends that are entrepreneurs, a couple of guys that are very, very successful in what they do. So I picked up the phone. Hey, what do I do? How do I register a business? How do I get a business name? How do I get a tax ID number? Right. How do I do all of these things? What do I need to open a business? You know?
It's so crazy how that's a little bit humbling too.
No, it really is. Yeah. Cause you have to, I don't like to ask people for anything. Me either, and I'm like, bro, I don't know how to do this. Like, I know how to do what I do, but I don't know any of the front house of stuff, you know, front of the house stuff. Yeah. I don't know any of the legal stuff. I don't know any of that stuff. So to ask people for help is definitely humbling. You know, I'm not the type of dude to be like, hey, Jay, I need some help. Can you help me? You know, instead I'm like, man, I need to figure this out, and I need to make this happen and figure out how to make it happen. So definitely I've got a lot of successful people around me that I've watched leave our industry and do other things and become extremely successful doing those things. And I'm like, well, shit, if he can do it, why can't I do it? Yeah. You know, and you get to a point too where, you know, no shade on any of my friends, obviously, but I'm like, yo, if you can do it, why can't I do this? Why? Give myself a reason. Why can't I do this? And the only reason is because I'm not trying.
Yes.
That's the only reason.
I got, so going back to kind of me personally, it took my DUI to snap me out of being a zombie, really, because I'm human and I did certain things and had to pay the consequences. Sure. But I can reverse that and do certain things and get the rewards, and we reap the rewards, right? Yeah. So that's when I started like, dude, I'm going to just do it. I'm going to just do it. And then COVID hit, just kind of same scenario where I was like, took a step back and I'm like, okay. And then we got back from COVID, money's good. Kind of got back into zombie mode for a little bit, but it took for me writing it down what I wanted to do. So it was as simple as that. And now I feel like I've gained momentum. So I guess just tell me your plan now with your business and what you expect your growth to be, I guess, within the next like year. Do you have like a year plan?
Yeah, that's a great question. Based on where we are right now, I had a year plan. The first year was don't close the doors. You know what I mean? Yeah. The first year was be able to not completely deplete my savings and make enough money to live for the first year and see, I mean, do I got to turn Netflix off? You know what I mean? Like, do I got to change cell phones? You know, you start looking at little things like that. Like, you know, do I need Sirius XM in 4 different cars? You know what I mean? Like, what do you need? You know, and you start looking at those kinds of things. And that determines whether or not you keep the doors open or not, you know? So things that you would take absolutely 100% for granted, things you wouldn't think about. you know, like make sure all the lights are turned off in the house, you know, dumb shit like that, you know, and obviously it was never that bad. But, but yeah, it's
a totally different mindset. I feel like
completely. Cause when I worked where I worked, I mean, no bullshit. It was a 6-figure a year job.
Yeah.
That's good money, you know, and that's good money for here. It's not bad money, you know, with as expensive as it is to live here. But if you can figure out what you need to pay for and when you need to pay for it and how much you can have left over, you can have a pretty decent life. Right. You know, and then you go to, well, as of July 1, there's no money coming in. Yeah. Zero. You know, and you go from making $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 a month to nothing. A lot of things change.
Yeah. I feel like it would be hard to predict your income. Absolutely. Yet, that's just a drive in itself.
And that's all it is. It's a hunger and a hustle is all it is. Where like, you know, other companies have somebody that sits in an office somewhere and they set your goals.
But it's more fulfilling in your case, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's different.
No, it definitely is, because I can tell you that I earned every dollar that I made.
Yo, and just even like I would trade a lot of the shit, especially just with like recent events and just where I've been in a mental capacity. You know what I mean? Like I would trade a lot of the shit that I'm doing right now just to have that free time with my children. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the fact that you're able to be successful and spend that time like is where every person wants to be.
Right. And it's what do you consider successful? Yeah. Are you successful as an employee? Are you successful as a husband? Are you successful as a parent? Yeah. You know? And so to take all of those different aspects of who you are, because everybody wears a different hat during the day, right? Yeah. You're a manager when you're at work. Yep. You're a boyfriend or a husband when you go home. You know what I mean? You're a dad when you get home. You're somebody's kid at a certain point. You know what I mean? There's different expectations in every one of those categories, you know? So to be successful in my relationships, plural, my friendships, my relationships, my family, my daughter, that's it. You know what I mean? I want to be successful there, and the money will come. Right. You know, there's plenty of it out there. You know, you asked me earlier, is the market oversaturated?
Never is, bro. Yeah. It always goes back to what you just said. I didn't do enough. To me, that's always been my outlook on it is I didn't do enough. If I didn't hit a certain goal or whatever, I just didn't do enough. But you can't dwell on that fact. No, and because that's gonna just eat you away and make you negative about anything in life, right?
Right, absolutely. And then when you work for a corporation, as a store manager or as an install manager or whatever, when you don't hit goal, they put that all on you. Yeah. And you have a team of people that are responsible for helping you hit that goal. You know what I mean?
You could have been a fucking rock star, but it's like, no, but the team.
Right. You're like, oh, you had your best personal month ever, but you guys didn't hit goals, so who fucking cares? Yeah. You know what I mean? And that kind of shit, for me, that helped me make this decision real quick. Yeah. I was actually on vacation with my family. I was in Texas. I was in South Padre for a week. Mm-hmm. I took 10 days of vacation. And my phone rang every single day that I was gone. Every day. So when we got back, I was like, okay, it's time to do something different, you know? Yeah. So there had already been a plan in place. The original plan did not come to fruition. I had a backup plan, which is the mobile thing. And to not have a business partner, I was originally going to have a business partner. That didn't work out. Right. But to not have a business partner and have all of the responsibility be on yourself is motivation in itself. Because if I'm like, oh, me and Jay are going to go into business, right, and Jay's going to handle X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to handle A, B, and C. And if X doesn't get handled, well, that's on you, right? Yeah. But that affects me, right? So now as a team, you know, you have to figure that kind of stuff out, you know, figure it out as business partners. Yeah. But when it's just you, if something falls through the crack, that's my fault. Right. You know, if a customer doesn't get helped or a car gets broken or somebody doesn't get called back, that's all on me, which is a blessing and a curse.
Do you feel you have more stress now or more with your last company?
It's a different kind of stress. Yeah, it's a different kind of stress. I wouldn't say that I have more or less, because it's probably still about the same, it's a pretty decent level of stress. Yeah. Right. You know, I ran a shop that did over $1 million in labor a year, which is crazy. And was responsible for everybody in that shop, and sometimes responsible for people on the front side of the store, you know, but as a manager, that's what you sign up for. You're responsible for everybody. Right. So now to just be responsible for myself, there's less stress there.
Right.
But now my income is 100% on me.
Right.
You know, I don't have a salary that somebody pays me that just shows up every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore, you know? So that's the difference in stress for sure.
As far as like starting the business, of course, you know, there's the leap that you had to make just mentally, but as far as like financially, with of course getting something so you can do the mobile service,
right.
And then, you know, spending the money to LLCs or business names and all these different things that you go into, like kind of what was that process like? You don't have to go into particulars, of course, on what you did, but like just kind of the steps that you took to like make it official.
I mean, I made a couple of financial moves personally to make sure that I had enough money in my savings account to make 9 or 10 months worth of mortgage payments.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Just based on what I had set in savings, you know, so that way, if I didn't make any money that month, I could still pay the mortgage.
Right.
We could still pay the bills. You know, I'd still have a place to live. So that was a big deal. And that was an agreement that was made within my house that this much money had to be set aside before we could do this. So we figured out a way to do it. We did it. We made it happen. And then it was just a matter of purchasing a vehicle, which, I mean, I make payments on a vehicle. I didn't pay cash for the vehicle because that's crazy. Especially if you look at what vehicles cost right now.
Yeah.
So I bought a vehicle. I had it branded. I have a couple of friends. Everybody makes, you know, T-shirts and stickers and whatever. So I have a buddy of mine that is a small business owner here in town. He kind of took me under his wing in the first like month or so. And he was like, hey, we kind of do car audio stuff, but we don't really talk about it a lot. We have a couple of dealerships that we do residual work for that comes in every month. Come hang out. So I did. And he was like, hey, why don't you work for me? And then I was like, no, wait, that's not what this is about. This is about me getting on my feet. And I had a couple of people that are small business owners here in town that are like tent shops or vinyl companies. I don't want to say stickers because that kind of downplays what they do. But full vehicle wraps and clear bra and tint and stuff like that. And they dabble in the 12 volt industry. You know, everybody goes somewhere and then they go, oh, do you do remote starts? That's everybody's question.
Yeah.
And a lot of those guys go, no, we don't. But we know a guy.
Yeah.
So then they charge for it because they have distributors. I come in and do the work. They pay me for it. So I can they sub out to me. And a couple of those shops still do a year later, you know, still bring me on every now and then when they get to a point where they can't keep up with what they're doing and with appointments, then they'll call me in for reinforcements kind of a thing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I bought a van. I had it branded. I had some T-shirts made. I had a couple hoodies made. I had bought some hats on Amazon and had them branded. I owned all my tools already. You know, I opened a credit card. I put a couple things on the credit card to get things going, and that's basically it. I don't want to make it sound like it's super easy to do this because I don't really want any competitors jumping in here, but but I've been blessed, man. It's been a year, and there are mobile mechanics that are like, oh, I can put a radio in. And I'm like, well, I'm a mobile car audio installer. I could probably change your oil. You know what I mean? Like, but that's not what I do. And that's not what they do. Right. They could do it, sure, but that's not what they specialize in. So especially when it comes to electrical in a car, you want somebody that knows what they're doing, not somebody that should be able to figure it out. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to downplay mobile mechanics or anything like that, but it's a different game. It's a completely different game.
Tell me, what's your end goal and what kind of impact do you want to have on life?
I don't know that I have an end game, so to speak. Yeah. But I want to have my name mentioned where all the big boys' names are mentioned. You know what I mean? If they're like, hey, where would you go to get a remote start? 9 times out of 10, people say this shop or this shop. I want my name to be one of those shops. You know, I want them to be like, oh, I had this guy come to my house. That's what he does. He's amazing. That's what I want, you know? And I don't want to talk bad about any of the places here in town because they've all done very well. They're all very successful. They all make a bunch of money, but it's time for something different, you know? And that's what I bring to the game. It's what I do is unlike anything that anybody else does.
Well, somebody's looking for something different. Tell the people where they can find you.
So I'm on Facebook, 5 Star Mobile Installations. I'm on Instagram at 5 Star Mobile Installations. I'm on TikTok at, I think it's CO-5 Star. Okay. Because somebody else already had 5 Star Mobile install here in Colorado, which was weird. So I don't know. There's some politics behind that, I think. but not a big
really?
deal. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I've got a website that's being built right now, so it'll be 5starmobile.net.
Okay.
So that's coming soon, hopefully for holiday season. Yeah, that's where I'm at, man. I'm all over social media stuff, and I've got a white and lime green van driving around town. The logo looks just like this. It's very bright and it's very big, and you can't miss it.
Man, I love the conversation today.
Yeah,
I guess, do you have any closing statements, man?
I appreciate the time. I appreciate the platform. It's something that I've never done before, and it's a very cool platform of what you guys are doing. And I follow both of you guys online, obviously, and follow the show, and watch interviews and stuff, and it's pretty cool to be a part of something like this. I would have never thought, let's do a podcast.
Right? It's so fun.
Let's do a podcast.
Just telling my point of view, man. I get different perspectives, just going back to perspectives of just opening up a business. That's why I wanted to have you on and just kind of talk about your journey. So that's awesome. I feel like every time me and Jay sit down with somebody, it's an eye-opening experience just to hear their story.
Right.
So
right.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
And it's amazing just really answering a lot of questions on people. Like, there's a lot of people who are going to watch who are just like me, who are kind of on the fence of what they want to do, or if they want to pursue their dreams. And
that's what you do.
Of course,
you are never going to be comfortable.
Quote unquote, adventure forward. But like, just being able to do those things. And I think there's a lot of people who are on that path. But of course it's hard, man. Like, we get so, like you were saying, you turn into a zombie and you just get in these zones where you're just like, oh, I'm just going to do this. You have the blinders on. I'm just going to get past and keep on going. So it's amazing to have you here as we have more and more people on who are doing amazing things, who have been able to take the jump and make the journey to do something that not a lot of people feel comfortable to do, and to like just don't, you know. So,
but I'll tell you, being comfortable and being complacent are two very similar things. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. And if it doesn't make you uncomfortable, there's not going to be a reward. Yeah, that's how it is. That's how you have, shit. That's how you have. We leave them with that. That's how you clip that shit. And that's how you have to look at it. I mean, if it doesn't scare you and it doesn't excite you, then why do it?
You're probably not growing.
Fucking facts, bro.
Yeah. So if it scares you, do it. Yeah. And I will tell you, looking back now, I should have done it years ago. Yeah. I should have done it while COVID was happening.
That'd have been fucking
because those distributors were not closed when COVID was going on, because the shops were open. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everybody's distributors were still working. Warehouses were a little bit smaller staffed, but they were still working. It would have been a game changer had I done this during COVID. Yep. If I had done this in 2000, it would have been.
You're doing it now, man. So keep doing it, and hopefully in 5 years we see you at your goal or even bigger, bro.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope to have a small building with maybe a 2 or 3 car garage. Yeah. Still do the mobile thing, because that's obviously my bread and butter. That's the backbone of the business. So I don't want to ever give that up. It's tough when it's 97 degrees outside in September. Yeah. That's hard. Right. Or 20 degrees outside in February. Those days are a little tougher than others. But like I said, you have that motivation. I wake up in the morning and I go, well, do I want to go to work? Well, no, nobody wants to go to work. But do I want to make a better life and a better opportunity for my kid today? Let's do that. Yeah. So it's just a mindset. And once you flip it to the mindset that is going to work for you, once you figure that out, it's easy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.